Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Game on Cloud 9 here, and I'm here to bring you guys a new crossover battles video. And in this crossover battles video, I decided to do Sakura versus Nami. Who do you guys think would win? Now, the deal is here. I know a lot of you guys out there probably already know who I actually think would win this matchup. And the reason why I say that is because I did a live stream, not on my channel, but I was doing a live stream with a few other YouTubers the other day, like 2 or 3 days ago, and I pretty much shared my thoughts on that. I told you guys I personally see Sakura beating Nami. Now, a lot of people seem very puzzled by this. Like, you really think Nami would lose to Sakura? Like, that useless bitch? I mean, that's pretty much what most people would say. And the thing is, I want to kind of expand on that in this video. Now, the thing, like, if you really like Nami, this is not gonna be a video talk like trying to dumb down Nami, make her seem like she's weak or anything like that. Although personally, neither one of the characters are really that powerful in their respective series. But at the same time, in comparison to each other and in the fight, I feel as though one is definitely stronger of an over. But I will expand on that, and don't feel as though I'm hating on either series. Of course, like I love One Piece. So if you think that, I'm just trying to hate on it or talk about that and you're getting ready to punch the dislike bar right now because you think like I'm for some reason a big One Piece hater because I feel like one character from another series can beat a One Piece character, you know what I mean? I'm just going to let you know out the gate. I personally like Nami's character design better than Sakura. So if that makes you feel a little bit better, then alright, I hope you're good. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead, of course, start off with Sakura's feats, and then I'll go on to Nami's. Now, just so you know, right now, I'm getting this information from the Naruto Wiki and the One Piece Wiki. And some information, just a couple things from, like, just directly giving you guys the page and the number from the manga. But, anyway, now, we all know Sakura at the beginning of Part 1 in Naruto, pretty much useless. Now, if we were talking about pre-time skip Sakura versus pre-time skip Nami, I would say out the gate Nami would win that. But I feel as though Sakura's development and what she's learned over the time skip, even though it hasn't been a lot, but at the same time, she's still grown quite a bit from where she was at, considering where she was at in Part 1. In Part 1, she pretty much only knew the basics. Substitution, the transformation jutsu, clone jutsu. In case you're not really familiar with the clone jutsu, I'm not talking about the shadow clone jutsu, but the clone jutsu is actually an E-rank technique that comes from the academy. And I'm actually going to read it off right now. It says, a ninjutsu that creates an intangible copy of one's own body without any substance, since the clone itself doesn't have the ability to attack and thus can only be used to confuse the enemy. It is basically used in combination with other ninjutsu. Its basic technique, but depending on one's ingenuity, can be used effectively. The clones will dissipate when they come into contact with something, pretty much. So you can say and it's not a genjutsu, but it's somewhat like an illusion. So the clone jutsu, of course, she knew that substitution technique. All shinobi know that, and she also knew the transformation technique. But Sakura's thing that she was always known for in Part 1 was her chakra control and her, well, I guess you could say she was like Genjutsu type, but that doesn't really come into this debate, of course. But her chakra control and the fact that she was known for her intelligence. Now, she's not at like Shikamaru's level. Before anybody sits up there and says that, I'm not saying she's a master strategist, but one thing she's been able to do is she's been very observant in battle. And I think that's something that really carried over when it comes down to Part 2 once she finally stepped up her game on the physical side. Because physically before, she wasn't really that strong. She wasn't really able to do much. But in Part 2, of course, she picked up her strength greatly. I mean, able to decimate boulders easily. Pretty much like a mini Tsunade. Her chakra control, enables her to pretty much be able to decimate anything one strike. And Nami, on that hand, hasn't really shown off, in my opinion, or from what I've seen in One Piece, anything that big on top, or I should say, on like the physical side. So I don't know, like in a physical scale, I don't really think that there's a really like somebody can really come up with a good argument for why Nami could even be compared to Sakura. Like when it comes down to physically, in terms of like if they were to change in blows or in combat. The highest thing that Nami's shown when it comes down to strength is that she was able to actually deflect a blow from one of the fishman's blades, and we know that fishmen have 10 times the strength of your average human. But I don't really think that's saying much, because when we're talking about your average human, I mean, your average human is pretty much fodder in both of these verses, and being 10 times stronger than that, is that really saying much? I mean, can you really tell me a fodder that's 10 times stronger is really going to do much against Sakura or, Nami? So, I mean, you could say that's somewhat of a feat, but, I mean, that's not really that impressive to me. Seeing as what Sakura's done, Sakura being able to, trying to think of something specific. I mean, anytime Sakura pretty much she strikes the ground splits apart, I can't really think of how big the crater could actually be, but when you look at the fight that she had with Kakashi, actually, like Kakashi and like Naruto and Kakashi during the Bells test, the second Bells test, which you can actually look at chapter 246 on page 12. And if you want to see that, go to mangahero.com. And I'll say that one more time. 246 on page 12. You can actually see when Sakura strikes the ground and the ground split apart. So I can give you a general idea of Sakura's average punch whenever she strikes somebody. And Nami, I've never seen anything on that scale. Now, of course, that's not meaning that Nami, obviously, it's not saying that she's put at a complete disadvantage, because that's not what Nami's known for. Nami's known for using her climb attack. But at the same time, Sakura, that's not all she has either. I mean, Sakura, she does, one thing that we learn later on from Sakura is that she poisons her kunais. Now, some of you guys may say, oh, kunai, that's nothing. But, a kunai may be nothing when it comes down to, like, these overpowered shinobi like Mata or whatever. But at the same time, it's not like, it doesn't play a role in this battle. I mean, Nami, it's not like Nami is a master of evasion from what we've seen. Nami's been hit by stuff before. Nami, yes, she does have her Art of the Weather, which actually I'm going to go over right now. Her Art of the Weather, she's been able to create illusions before using her Mirage Tempo, but I don't really see that being too effective in combat with Sakura, since Sakura does know how to use the clone jutsu, and the clone jutsu can be seen through by your average shinobi, since it is an E-rank technique. I mean, Sakura can see through it, Naruto probably can see through it. It's really not that impressive, and it's not even really used anymore because of that. And the Mirage Tempo kind of reminds me of a clone jutsu, because if it's just a Mirage, it's just an illusion, then probably your average, shinobi probably could see through that, since shinobi are used to seeing stuff like that. And, I don't really see it being too much of a problem. It doesn't have to do with genjutsu or anything like that, of course. But at the same time, these illusions probably, don't have a shadow to them or anything like that. And now, One Piece, you may say, okay, well, the One Piece characters, they have a hard time with it. But at the same time, the One Piece characters you don't really see a lot of tactical battles when it comes down to One Piece. Maybe a little bit of Nami's battles, but I think I think Sakura is a little bit more tactical than Nami, because Sakura has been shown to be somewhat of a more observant character, in my opinion, in terms of her battle strategy. I mean, a great example of this actually is during chapter 267, when she fought against Chio and Sakura, Chio and Sakura were fighting against Sasori. And one thing that we see is Sakura thinks on her feet when Sasori, I don't know if anybody remembers, when he basically spewed off this big poison gas that surrounded her. After, of course, Sasori pretty much, he had the third, I think it was the third Kazekage puppet that he had. He pretty much, he spewed out this big old poisonous gas. He was able to catch Sakura with a kunai and wrap her up in the gas and tried to suffocate her. Now, of course, Chio, she ran after Sakura trying to save her, but Sakura was trying to figure, okay, how can I get out of this? She pulls a kunai with the tag. As much, as much as you guys probably will say, oh, that's nothing. It's still like she pulls a kunai out of her bag, and she's able to set off an explosion which blows away the poisonous gas. And I guess you could also say that kind of goes for a feat for durability as well, the fact that she was able to survive the explosion. Now, just to go ahead and reinforce all that, I'm going to go ahead and read off of the intelligence section on Sakura's page on the Naruto Wikia. Now, it says, in part 2, Along with her other attributes, Sakura's exceptional intelligence and keen observation skills also improved during her training with Tsunade, who taught her how to read and decipher the attack patterns of her enemies and attack accordingly. As a result, she could now read complex patterns in her opponent's attacks, even her opponents as strong as Sasori, a feat which even surprised an experienced war veteran like Shio. When Sakura, along with her team, encountered Toby and his technique, Sakura was able to assume its mechanism and deduce that Toby was only pretending to be affected. Sakura is also known to be skilled at planning, being able to formulate a plan to kill Sasuke by the use of poison and prevent Kiba, Sai, and Lee from following her by the use of sleeping gas bomb. Now, of course, we all know that wasn't really going to work on Sasuke because it's freaking Sasuke, but I think you can see Sakura throughout the series seeing those different feats, such as, of course, her, kind of being able to see through Sasori's, some of his movements, and also, of course, the fact that she came with that plan with Sasuke, and she had the sleeping gas bomb that she was even able to make, and she's made antidotes for herself and all that. I think you can consider the fact that since Sakura is a medical ninja, she does have to be able to be great at evading, because that's one thing medical ninjas have to do, because we all know medical ninjas have to be able to stay alive in combat. Tsunade even came up with a rule that pretty much the medical ninja is supposed to be the last person to survive in the squad and not the first one to go, because they have to be around to be able to heal people, unless you know her little secret jutsu. But of course, Sakura doesn't know that. But I feel as though Sakura's evasion skills definitely have been shown to be a lot better than what we've seen from Nami. I've never seen Nami be quick and nimble on her feet. Nami, for the most part, of course, the climb attack is her power. If she does not have the climb attack, then she's pretty much useless. I mean, what can Nami do? If Sakura were to run up to Nami and fight with her in combat, or try to get in close combat, Nami, to me, can't even really block a strike from her. I can't see the climb attack being capable of blocking that. And even with that, Sakura, obviously, in my opinion, would clearly be able to disarm her, because her taijutsu, or I guess you could say her hand-in-hand in this case, is, in my opinion, a lot better than Nami's. Nami, she's shown little things here or there, especially, I guess, kind of in the beginning. We've seen her, maybe fend off against fodder or whatever. But even Sakura in the beginning of Naruto was capable of beating off fodder. That's been shown at least a few times. I can't think of off the top of my head, of course, but I'm pretty sure most of you guys would agree with me that Sakura's beaten fodder in part 1. That's it. Fodder is fodder for a reason. That's all I'm trying to get at. So that's really not that impressive to me that Nami was able to do that at some point. So my thing is, looking at Nami, going back to what Nami can do. Hold on, guys. In part 2, post time skip Nami. We've seen her, of course. She's able to wield the weather a lot better than she was able to do before. We've seen her use this thing called the gust sword, which allows her, of course, to have this pressurized burst of air that comes out of it. And I didn't actually sound right now that I think about that, but you guys get this pressurized air that releases from it. And I guess you could say that's somewhat of a useful technique, but I've never seen that kill anybody. I've never seen that. We've seen it maybe knock out a fishman or something like that, but considering the fact that Sakura is a medical ninja, and that she does have, some decent durability when it comes down to, I would say, in comparison to Nami, because we haven't really seen Nami have to endure all that much. I would say that, the gust sword isn't really going to do much. Now, if we go ahead and look at the I know Nami has a particular thunder move. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I think it's called the Thunder Trap, or it's not the Thunder Trap. I'm pretty sure most of you guys know the move that Nami has in part 2. I can't remember the name of it, and I don't know why I can't find it on this wiki right now. But basically, she's able to have these thunder clouds, of course. And I know she did it on Fishman Island, where she was able to basically turn her climb attack around, spin it around, and the thunder clouds, of course, moved with it and were able to zap everything it basically hit. But anytime Nami's even used her moves, I've never seen her kill an opponent. I'm not saying Sakura's killed anybody either, but she definitely has the potential to in combat. I mean, it's even been said that, people that a lot of shinobi can't take a hit from her. I've never really heard that too much with Nami. I mean, I've never even really seen fodder die against Nami's techniques. So in combat, you may say, okay, she has the illusions. I know one thing I've heard one YouTuber say is that Nami, she's able to become invisible. But seeing as how Sakura is a very observant fighter, I don't think that that's gonna automatically win the fight for her. If they're in the beginning of a fight, if Sakura and Nami are standing right next to each other, they're right across from each other, getting ready to face off. I don't think that Sakura, if Nami decides to go ahead and go invisible from there on out, I don't think Sakura is going to be a dumbass and just be, well, where does she go? Oh my gosh, what do I do? Like, I do think Sakura would be trying to figure out, okay, she just disappeared. I have to figure out what to do right now. Okay, I don't see her anywhere. Let's figure this out. Let's figure this thing out. Maybe I'll throw some kunais this way, or maybe I'll punch the ground. I mean, Sakura's notorious for doing that. And I think actually the name of the move is called Cherry Blossom Impact. So if she has no idea where Nami is, she could always strike the ground. And you cannot tell me that if she strikes the ground, Nami is gonna feel that. I mean, I'm not saying Nami, will get. Of course, she's not gonna get directly hit with it, but that would definitely stop Nami for whatever she's doing. I'm like, so I don't think she'd be able to sneak up on Sakura, not even close. The Mirage technique, again, she can see through that, seeing as how the clone technique is a basic ninjutsu technique that ninja Genin level are able to do. So I don't think that's going to cut it. And also, looking at, like, if you look at even in combat prowess, when both of them have been in fights, I mean, looking at how Sakura, when she fought against Sasori, now some will say, okay, Shio did a lot of work, but still, I mean, she went in a lot during the fight when she fought against Sasori. She still was effective, did defeat a lot of puppets. Looking at what Nami, when Nami faced off against the Fishman pirates, and of course we saw, I think his name was Zio, and I can't remember the other dude's name. I think it may have started with a D, but there were two fishmen that almost ganged up on Nami. Now, I'm not going to sit there and fault her for getting messed up for maybe 2 seconds or almost getting ready to lose her life in that particular situation, but at the same time, I feel as though if Sakura would have been caught in the same situation with the two fishmen, because we saw one of them turn invisible, grab Nami's legs, the other one was getting ready to strike Nami, and of course, that's when Brook came to the rescue and saved her. I feel as though if Sakura had been caught in that situation where it was those fisherman pirates, I think that Sakura would have at least defeated one of them. I think she can beat. I mean, personally, I think she could probably beat both of them because those fishermen were completely horrible, in my opinion. But I mean, in that situation, Sakura wouldn't have been standing around wondering what the heck is going on. I know people say Nami is observant, or they think, some of you guys may think that she is a tactical fighter, but in my opinion, seeing as how Sakura, she has, she's bringing the strength to the table. She's clearly faster than Nami, and don't say she's not, because I mean, these shinobi travel from country to country on foot easily. I mean, Nami hasn't even shown off really any speed feats. I'm not saying Sakura has, but I think the speed that she's shown off is at least better. I'm like, we've seen a little bit more from her than we have from Nami. I mean, you can debate on that. You can say, oh, you're just spewing out bullshit right now. But I mean, if you look at just the fact that their traveling speed is a lot quicker than what we've even seen Nami run around and do in a fight. So, I think that Sakura is a little bit more athletic than Nami is. So I don't see, in terms of, it comes down to physical strength and speed, all that, Sakura has Nami beat. When it comes down to intelligence, in my opinion, I feel like she has her beat. I mean, of course, Nami, she knows the weather and all that, but, in terms of battle, like battle strategy and all that, I feel like Sakura is more geared in that. Sakura, in my opinion, has more stamina, seeing as how she has medical ninjutsu to be able to sustain herself. So if she does get hit by something, she can always heal herself. And she does have a few different healing feats, and I can go ahead and go over them real quick. One thing about, I guess you can say about Sakura, of course, during the fight with Sasori, I know she was able to start healing herself while Sasori had he had a poison sword lodged in her abdomen. So you can say, okay, even if Sakura is able to heal herself, even in complex situations where she's I guess you could say, like, yeah, even in complex situations where, most people probably wouldn't be capable of doing so. So I think Sakura in a fight, of course against Nami, pretty much would be able to end this, fairly easily. Because if they do confront each other, if Nami tried to pull off the little illusionary technique again, she can see through the clones. If she tried to do the little lightning thing, her evasion skill is really good. I mean, at the same time, like, Nami's never shown Nami, I'm not saying that she can't hit her at all, but like I said, medical ninjutsu can sustain her. She has, some decent durability, I guess Sakura does, with, she's been able to survive an explosion from an explosive tag. So again, I'm giving this fight to Sakura in my opinion. But you guys can let me know what you guys think out there, who you think will win in this particular fight. I know this crossover battle may seem a little bit messy in the way I've handled it a little bit, because I know I've been kind of all over the place in this video. But these are just my thoughts on who I think would win in this fight, and why I think, of course, I thought Sakura would win, and over Nami. I like both characters, so again, if that makes you feel any better, hope you don't dislike the video for that reason. If you decide to dislike the video, please do it for another reason. But if you did like the video, please don't forget to put a thumbs up. And also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my content and you would like to see more of it. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.